Ayan, live na yata tayo. Okay. I was not planning to do any FB Live anytime soon, pero mukhang may mga developments na nangyari ngayon, no? So base sa last check ko dyan, mukhang lampas na tayo sa 100,000 na reactions dun sa post natin. It was just a kind of a experiment. Sabi ko, okay, meron silang version na ganun. Gawa rin tayo ng version na ganun, no? With all due respect to both candidates. So, it's a heart, it's a like, no? So, we're not trying to bash anyone or besmirch anyone. We're very fair to everyone. So, pinost natin yan. Mukhang sa una, the hearts were getting a lot of momentum. So, kasi may busy ako, may mga meetings and all ako. So, bago ako pumunta sa meetings and all of that, nakita ko mukhang yung hearts medyo may lead sila, no? But mukhang later on naghabol, no? At very very organized. And the reason I'm saying is that is because nakikita ko rin sa Twitter may mga comments dun sa baba na eto, bumoto kayo dito. And I've been getting some news that from some of our friends na sinishare ito in certain circles and all. So very organized, very very organized. So let me just say this, we're not gonna delete that posts. More than 100,000 reactions. Who knows, this could go up to 150, 200,000 reactions. So, baka mamaya may Guinness record na tayo dyan, hopefully, on our page. And it's good to know that our page is being followed by people all around. Remember, my podcast kami na Project Pilipinas. So, we're not trying to cater to a specific audience or not. We're trying to be as inclusive as possible. Despite given the fact na, of course, may mga sarili tayong mga convictions and all. Pero parang kasla nga amin nga kapsat. Bumoto di Jaya. Grabe, no? Grabe. Nagadungay suna, no? I was not surprised. Let me just put it this way. I think sinabi niya na dati, surprise. No, I'm not surprised at all dito sa final outcome, emerging final outcome. Kasi my sense is, I think the imbalance is gonna be even more. If I'm not mistaken, hindi ko mahanap eh. Di ba Rappler yata and others also at surveys like that? I think meron din yung Manila Bulletin, di ba? May survey din na ganun. And I think similarly nakita natin napakalakas yung kay former Senator Bongbong Marcos. And then Leni is, I think, among second, no? So, nakikita natin these two candidates are... So, let's go to political analysis because hindi tayo nagtatroll dito. Actually, that was a very good experiment, to be honest. Like, I was not expecting a lot of people to react to it that way. Sabi na siguro 10,000, 20,000 replies. And let me be very clear. This is serious stuff for me because I really analyze here yung... Kasi dito mo nakikita gaano ka-organized and gaano ka-emotionally invested yung mga supporters ng mga iba't ibang kampo. So later on, we're gonna run hopefully more experiments with more candidates. Kaso nakakaubos ako ng mga, let's say, politically correct emojis eh. Kasi kung lagay mo ng 5 or 6 candidates, anong emoji dun sa iba, di ba? Na hindi lalabas na bias ko or something. At least ito may like and my heart. So, I mean, okay both, di ba? Positive, good vibes, no? But pag medyo dumaming candidates, medyo mahirap na kasi may mga ibang emoji na maubusan sila ng good emojis dun sa ibang candidates. But this was an experiment. And I think this experiment exposed a lot of things. I think it's showing and it's kind of tracks with yung ibang hindi naman survey to, let's be honest. This is not a scientific survey. This was just a post. I was just like putting a picture there. But I think this kind of tracks also with some of the trend lines we see online and other online the quotation is on the survey part. Other online surveys, no? Na nakita natin, very passionate yung support with at least these two candidates. So, even though mas maraming support kay Bongbong Marcos compared to Leni dito sa... I'm not surprised. And, well, organized, diba? Organized. At saka maraming solid. But both sides are solid, no? So we'll try to run more experiments hopefully in the future to see. But I think this tracks very well dun sa mga ibang nakita natin na online service. Now, this is very important. Let me tell you why. Because in 2016, a South African analytics company was able to successfully predict the outcome of 2016 elections, not only in the US, but also in Brexit, no? Based on dun sa level of emotional attachment at yung solidness online. So yes, it's easy to dismiss online support, troll farm lang slang, or whatever, but we know there are a lot of support there which are genuine. A lot of support I'm seeing there for Senator Bongbong Marcos, for Leni Robredo, it's genuine. I can expect a lot of that is genuine. Of course, there are some quote unquote whatever that are sharing it, and of course there's but the fact of the matter is that a lot of that is genuine, no. So we're not going to be dismissive about it. And online emotional attachment is a good predictor, no, base dun sa mga studies na nakita natin sa 2016 of how people will turn out during election period, especially in highly polarized political environments and elections. So pag napaka-polarized ang isang elections, the tendency is that levels of emotional investment, yung degree and depth of electoral and political mobilization ay napakamahalaga, no? And here, so far, we see that both the camps, Bongbong Marcos and Leni, are doing very well online. And let's see, because in the future, I hope to interview some of our friends, Project Pilipinas. So si Samira Gotok, yung na-interview namin the other day, andyan na, it's already online. Leloy Claudio from UC Berkeley the other day. We're gonna hopefully interview more people, no? Especially people are doing surveys, including well-done analytics online, no? So may mga, there's survey to survey, may mga survey na talaga, ewan talaga. But there's certain ways of doing online surveys in a quite representative, quite scientific way. But definitely this is not one of them. But the reason is because yun nga, dun sa 2016 nakita natin, in very polarized elections, level of emotional attachments are very, very important. Now, of course, there are many other counter examples. Pwede natin tignan yung 2020 elections sa US among others. But I think hindi mo dapat i-dismiss yan. Now, which brings me back dun sa issue na sinasabi ko over and over again. Instead of trolling each other, instead of trying to dismiss each other's support, I think this experiment, yung post na ginawa natin earlier this day, I think it reflects the strength of a certain camp or two, right? I mean, I've been saying this. Bongbong Marcos Jr. is the candidate to beat in these elections. I've been saying this ahead of almost everyone, right? You could see it. But yung mga Bongbong Marcos camp, kino-quote yata ko. This is not an endorsement because I'm not endorsing any candidate or not. Hindi naman tayo nag-endorse. I'm just saying, if you look at alignment of forces, yung elements of electoral momentum and machinery and everything, andun talaga kay Bongbong Marcos. Ang lakas nila online. And dito sa nakita natin na ang daming mga nag-like, no? Dito sa post natin. If I'm not mistaken, there's supporters of both Duterte side and also solid Bongbong Marcos side, who also supported the Duterte side over the past few years, na nandyan. So, nakikita natin yung combined forces of the Marcoses and Dutertes, what it can do. So, that shows you their power, right? That shows you their power. This is where I go to the issue of substitution. I mean, unang-una, actually, pag tinignan mo yung issue ng substitution, November 15 may still not be the final chance for substitution. Tignan nyo yung 2019, yung resolution na pinas ng COMELEC. At some point, there was even a possibility for midday of election substitution kung paras kayo ng family name, no? And this could even go beyond the cases na may extraordinary circumstances na nangyari. But we're not here to discuss the legalities of the substitution law. But my point is that my sense has been this, na mukhang Bongbong Marcos will be the candidate of continuity restoration and of the administration. I think it's more than possible na hindi natatakbo si Sara Duterte. And that Bongbong Marcos will be the presidential candidate of the administration. And then siguro, yung sa VP, galing na lang sa side ni Pangulong Duterte. Whether it's Bongo, whether it's Sara, let's see. And mukhang bati yung Senate slate could come from the side of Duterte. So you can have a situation whereas Bongbong Marcos is the presidential candidate, really, of the administration. But the VP and all of that is more from the Duterte side. So we can see this interesting situation. Parang kung kabaliktaran yung nangyari noong 2016, no? So now the Marcoses are in a very strong position, no? It's very understandable bakit malakas ang Marcoses. I mean, first of all, let's not forget, this is only a single round first past the post election. So ang kailangan lang talaga ni Bongbong Marcos dito is to get more votes than everyone else. And my sense is if hindi tatakbo si Sara, right? Because yun nga bakit ka kasi ito yung point magsa-substitute ka kung there are several elements present there. Magsa-substitute ka kung may element of surprise. Well, walang element of surprise this time because everyone is expecting a substitution maneuver to already happen soon, right? The second is rallying effect. Nagkaroon ba ng similar rallying effect this time? Dun sa isang candidate na supposedly tumakbo sa presidential position at hindi. Compare this to what happened back in 2015 when President Duterte did not run initially for the president. Tingnan mo yung rallying effect, no? So, and third, Bongbong Marcos is already consolidating yung support on the right side of the political spectrum. So, solid talaga yung momentum ni Bongbong Marcos. So, I won't really be surprised. This is it. Bongbong Marcos is really the candidate of the administration and continuity and restoration, right? And Imelda Marcos, Madam Imelda Marcos, 92 years of age, I think she wants to have her moment. Dun siya balik sa balcony sa Malacanang and have her moment of vindication. So the Marcoses are all in. The Marcoses are all in. They have been waiting for this for almost exactly 30 years, no, since early 1990s na bumalik sila. So I think they're all in na. So I won't be surprised if Sara indeed will not run next month, no. So or not run for the president, who knows, maybe vice president also. I won't be surprised by that. But just look at strength talaga ni Bongbong Marcos camp, no. They potentially will have the DDS. Oh, I'm sorry. I don't mean it in a derogatory. They'll potentially have the Duterte support, solid support behind them, especially if Sara doesn't run for presidency, which is increasingly probable. Tignan mo naman yung online presence and strength. You can say whatever you want, but grabe yung strength talaga ng Marcoses online. You can see that. But also on the ground. Kita natin, especially dito sa Luzon. Actually, yung sinasabi na solid north, Hanmet nga Ilocano layan na grabing support, no? Grabing support na pigsat. Support talaga ni kay Bongbong even dito sa Metro Manila, NCR and Balanced Luzon. So actually, Bongbong Marcos is the candidate to beat, especially dito sa Luzon area. His numbers are still not good in Visayas that much. Isko has been doing quite better in Visayas. Maganda yung momentum niya over the past 2 quarters. But if Sara doesn't run and Bongbong Marcos gets the Duterte support in Mindanao, imagine that. Ang lakas niya already in Luzon. If he gets Mindanao, then even though he'll not do that well in Visayas, he'll be in a very good position dito sa election na yan. Remember, single round first past the post. He doesn't need the majority, no? And I think this is a wake-up call dun sa mga kanyang kalaban, no? Dun sa mga kanyang karibal, no? And, maybe there are people in the Leni camp who think na siguro they want to make this fight between themselves and the Marcoses. Okay, I mean, everyone wants to do that. Probably, the Isko camp wants to also do that. But if the way of doing that is this other candidates destroying each other to position themselves as the alternative to the Marcoses and the candidate of the administration, I'm not sure how is that going to turn out. Because that could backfire, that could weaken alternative candidates' camps. All of them essentially mudslinging each other, and that will put Marcos in a very, very strong position. Because, as far as Marcos versus Leni Robredo is concerned, I think this is kind of quite like a total existential kind of, electorally existential kind of fight. It's a political fight, no, really. While yung with Isko, Leni, and others, it's more like just electoral competition, right? So rivalry, no. So medyo iba yung levels of competition. But anyways, what I'm saying here is that nire-reiterate ko naman yung point ko eh. Bongbong Marcos is the candidate to beat in these elections. And I won't be surprised if Sara won't run. And I think we already see online the strength of the Marcos side. And offline, don't underestimate their networks of support, especially if the Dutertes will rally behind Marcos' presidential campaign. Grabe yung maging network of support. Napaka-strong yan dyan sa Luzon area. Already leading candidates siya sa Balanced Luzon. Sa North, obviously, among ABC, also leading candidate ngayon si Bongbong Marcos. And which brings me to the third element. I mean, there's definitely authoritarian nostalgia dito sa ating bansa. I think a lot of Filipinos, a lot of middle-class Filipinos, we can debate about the data and the numbers. I've written journal articles, I've written academic works on that. We can go into that. But base sa alam natin, maybe that President Duterte may not be as popular as he used to be, or he may not be as popular next year. But I think the yearning of the Filipino middle class and a lot of Filipinos for kind of a decisive leadership, a kind of brand that the Marcoses represent, that sentiment is very, very strong. And I think a lot of people, again, we can debate about what happened. Actually, not debate. We can discuss what happened during the martial law, among others. But I think a lot of Filipinos who have been to Singapore and some of these not so liberal democratic countries which are very rich, siguro ang iniisip nila is if we have a kind of a strong, decisive leader, kind of Marcos brand of leader, siguro ang Pilipinas pwede maging katulad ng Singapore. No? I mean, that kind of mindset is gaining strength. No? At nakita natin with Bongbong Marcos, he has been, I think at one point he said back in the years na pag hindi parang hindi na overthrow yung Marcos regime, baka naging Singapore tayo. Of course, I have big we can make a lot of factual arguments on that issue, or factual rebuttals. But remember, this is politics. Politics is not just a game of facts versus facts, statistics versus statistics. Ang politika po ay about emotions din. It's about charisma. It's about mobilizing people. It's about exciting people. It's about getting them invested in your campaign, in the narrative, yung vision mo sa bansa. So napakamahalaga yung factor niyan. So yun. I think the experiment we did today shows you what's the lay of the land. Again, this is very limited scope ang pinag-usapan natin. It's not even a survey. It's not even an online survey. But I think it just gives you a foretaste of the strength of a certain camp here. But in fairness, mukhang Leni supporters, marami rin siyang solid supporters, no? So you can see very passionate supporters on both sides. And let's see if this will continue. Okay, I'll keep it there kasi mukhang marami nakabantay na sa atin. Right? We're gonna have more FBI Live hopefully soon. Actually, I was not planning to do any FBI Live or anything like that. Biglang nakita ko, wait, I think we have to do some analysis on this. This is interesting. This is very interesting, right? I think we have, kumbaga, parang we have shed light, parang na-x-ray natin certain trend lines there. Yes, online support does not necessarily, let me just be very clear. These elections will be fought on 3 fronts. Online, on the ground, and on TV, right? And mainstream media. So my air war, my ground war, my SOCMED. SOCMED, right? Social media. SOCMED war, right? So it will be fought on 3 fronts. But I think strengths in certain areas are sometimes reflective of strengths on multiple areas. And I can say when it comes to the Bongbong Marcos camp, I think they're not just strong online. What we're seeing online could be just a reflection of even greater strength on the ground. And I don't think they'll have any issues with also resources in terms of bombarding, the air with advertisement and all of that in the coming months. No? So yan. So yung mga supporters naman dyan ni Leni, solid din naman kayo eh. I can see naman napaka-passionate yun all. But also, instead of just dismissing the BBM side or anything like that, I think, you have to, as Sanju said, right? I mean, well, he said many things. Let's get, dito ba yung Art of War ko? Ayan. Diba ito? Marami siyang sinabi, diba? Please basahin niyo yan. I mean, if you know yourself, if you know your enemy, then you have more. Then there's greater chance that you'll win rather than lose, right? So don't just dismiss your rivals, and also know your own strengths and weaknesses. Sanju, right? Not always right. There's sometimes my limitations yung mga sinasabi ni Sanju. That's why meron tayong ibang works. Meron tayong works like that. This is the version of the West. And then, of course, there's also a Machiavellian version, not the Prince, but he has also his own version of Art of War. But anyways, this is not an academic discussion. But I hope you can see where I'm coming from. No? So hindi tayo naglalaro lang dito. This, we are based on yung mga posts, based on interactions we see online, we can make some limited caveat-based extrapolations about broader landscape. But I'm saying, Bongbong Marcos camp are not just strong online. Definitely, they're very strong online. And if the Dutertes rally behind them, they'll be a very formidable force in these elections to come. And let me be very clear, this is not an endorsement of any candidate. I may have certain preferences in general in terms of policies and all of that. I'll just be honest. None of the candidates really meet my standard. I'll just be brutally honest about it, right? My standards, I'm sorry. But this is not about my standards. This is about what will work for this country at this point in time. Ano bang maganda para sa ating bansa, no? So, yun ang tignan natin. At the same time, my job also here is to analyze yung trend lines, no? And so far, we have been quite correct. We predicted a number of things. Balikan yung mga ibang works natin, articles natin, FBI Lives natin. Practically everything we said came true. Of course, I can make mistakes. I've probably made mistakes in the past, among others. But so far, we got it all right as far as the electoral trends are concerned. So keep it there. Now, just to be clear, you can check my works and articles all around the world. I've been quoted in New York Times, Wall Street Journal, Reuters, Time Magazine, so on and so forth in the past few weeks, just on these election issues. But I've also written for Nikkei Asia, Monocle Magazine soon. There'll be more articles, hopefully for New York Times, among others that we'll write in the coming weeks and months, on this election. So, i-analyze din natin yan. But I think it's very important we also do this kind of online, spontaneous discussions about the latest developments. So please, tuloy sana itong your support, just paying attention to us. We're taking this seriously. Hindi ako nagbibiro dito. I'm a very serious guy. I mean, look at me, right? Hindi rin ako pikon, no? and if I have a kind of a rosy chick now, not that rosy now, doesn't reflect anything in terms of my political preferences. All right? Good vibes naman tayo. Heart and like. Okay. No, nothing. All right? Okay. Are there any comments there? I think this online. Hindi nga siya survey eh. Why do you folks say it's online? Hindi siya survey. I just posted a picture lang. This person with heart. It's not a survey. Huwag natin biruin sarili natin. But at the same time, doon mo makita talaga. I mean, 70,000 likes for a post is not a trivial thing. Even if you want to dismiss it as I mean, it's not a trivial thing. But the 30, 40, 50,000 is not also a trivial thing. So go lang. Tuloy-tuloy tayo dito. Hindi nga Paul eh. Wag mo isipin organized is your place. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just, no, I'm half kidding. Obviously, well, when I say organized, it doesn't necessarily mean it's like fake, artificial. No, organized means organized. Hello, this is politics. Dapat organized ka talaga. Kung di ka organized, di ka mananalo. Organization. But one way to get also a lot of organization is not just money. It's also enthusiasm. It's also narrative. It's also having the nice running mate. It's also yung tamang timing. Lahat ng mga factors na yan ay dapat nandun sa calculation mo. No? Pagdating sa elections. Yan. Oh, mabait tayo dyan ha. Anyati. Grabe! Oy, mabait kayo dyan. You're the one who said there was it. No, I mean, you see, when I say coordination, meaning yung mga may big followings, sinishare nila. Right? I don't have an evidence to suggest it's artificial or anything like that. I'm just saying, organized sila. Coordinated. What does coordinated mean? Kasi parang, alam ko, yung mga big bloggers and followers na sinishare eh. So coordinated siya. They were like, oh guys, lahat dapat coordinated. If you're not mobilized and coordinated, it doesn't work. That's my point, diba? Ayun, bias daw. Ito na naman tayo, Solid North. Hindi nga lang Solid North eh. Yung Solid North, hindi lang Northern Luzon. I mean, BBM is doing very well across the Luzon area. Even dito NCR, Balanced Luzon, is actually the leading candidate. Even si Yorme nga, medyo nahihirapan dito. So you would have expected Yorme will dominate Balanced Luzon and all. Sorry, a long day. I mean, anong oras na ba? I didn't expect it to. Kita niyo mga eye bags ko and all, diba? It was a long day. Sino pa? Give us some analytical point of view supporters from Marcus Jr. Look how they react and do their comments. Oh, in fairness naman, mga bongbong supporters, I mean, talaga yung mga bongbong supporters and all, they have been naman so far not, too aggressive or anything like that. So, okay. Let's keep it that way. Salamat. Maraming salamat. Thank you, Z. Thank you, Z, for checking us out. Ayan, may mga FBL Live na tayo. To our friends from Baguio. No longer in Baguio now. Anyone there? Yeah, anyways. Everything I said here, I've already written about it. Talagang in details. Yung numbers, data, everything is there. So, please, it's not hard to find my works. Alright? Hindi na kailangan bilhin yung mga books ko. Basta, you can check my works. Everything is cited, linked. By the way, when you get published on Nikkei Asia, New York Times, etc., you have multiple layers of fact-checking, you have multiple layers of editing, etc., etc., right? Hindi ito biro, hindi ito blogger lang, no? I mean, no offense, I'm a blogger too in my own way. But I'm just saying, like, it's not just like, labas lang sa akin. May proseso po yan. Hindi madali ma-publish. Let's just be very clear about that, right? Arvin Mendoza, anong sinabi mo? Please explain why it's being liberal. Ano? Sorry, Arvin, nawala. Balikan kita mamaya. Sorry about that. Okay, iba yatang... kayo yata nag-uusap dyan eh. Sige, baka disturbo ako dito. Kayo na nagre-react dyan, ha? Luzvin, Minda. Yun nga eh, if Mindanao rally behind Marcos didn't do very well in the last elections in Mindanao, not even that much in Visayas, ang lakas niya sa Luzon, but if this time he gets the Mindanao on, even if hindi niya makuha yung Visayas, even if Visayas goes more to Isko, malakas. Yun lang sinasabi ko dito. We're looking at the numbers here, okay? So yun, we're just trying to keep it as professional as possible. Dami po kasi sayang pambayad ng trolls. That's what I'm saying. Of course, there are trolls and all, everything like that. Ang dami na evidence to suggest that. But we cannot dismiss everything as just being trolls, right? May genuine support naman talaga kay Bongbong Marcos. I know that because, I come from Baguio, man. I come from Ilocos region. May genuine support talaga. I mean, let's not be... And even dito sa Metro Manila, malakas talaga si Bongbong Marcos. But, I mean, so, both can be true at the same time. You may have certain elements of this, but there's also genuine coordination and mobilization. So wag tayo maging dismissive or anything like that. Oh, hindi na ako mag-comment dyan sa ano ha, yung mga ibang media outlets and all. Mabait ako. Mabait ako sa lahat. Alright? Yeah, marami rin naman may solid Leni dito, in fairness. Ilan ba ang, like, hearts kay Leni? 40,000 na ba? Oh, hindi naman maliit na bagay yung 40,000 eh. Genuine, I'm sure medyo genuine yan, di ba? Lalo kasi mga followers natin, genuine dito, di ba? Let me be very clear, Eduardo. I'm not promoting any candidate or anything like that, but I'm talking about politics here. I'm not talking about facts and history. Sadly, of course, in an ideal situation, facts and actual events in history should be a basis for our decision-making process. But emotions are also a big factor. And if you want to talk about history, hindi pwedeng sabihin mo lang statistics and facts. You have to have a very coherent, appealing, cool, updated narrative, something that really appeals to people. So ako, for instance, you know how I approach the martial law, the Marcos era issue? I quote Lee Kuan Yew because I know a lot of people are attracted to Marcos. They're also attracted to Lee Kuan Yew. So what do? I quote what Lee Kuan Yew had to say on the Marcoses. Google nyo lang yan. You will see what's said there, right? Google nyo lang yan. That's how you do it. Hindi yung kasi if you just make this about dissente, moralism, etc., that's a tricky debate, and it doesn't work all the time. So you have to have an emotional, appealing, factually driven narrative, no? Which is, of course, objective and peer-reviewed and all. And I think yun yung medyo kulang eh. So just dismissing a certain camp or just saying purong evil lang sila and all of that misses the point. And let me be very clear about this. People already know, I've written on this about, people know my stance on what happened during martial law. People know my stance even on the economic performance of the Marcos regime. But let me be also clear, as someone na focused on South China Sea, West Philippine Sea disputes, written books on this issue and journal articles among others, let me also be very clear. Marcos got the South China Sea strategy of the Philippines right. Siya yung talagang panahon niya, may vision tayo, kaya ginawa natin yung mga airstrip dyan. Kailan ginawa yung airstrip dyan sa Pag-asa? 1970s. Sinong presidente noon? Marcos. So I think, as much as we have to highlight some of the horrors of the past, we also have to give credit where credit is due. Not to whitewash, but to give a complete picture, to give a comprehensive picture. Again, you see what I'm saying here? But again, baka mabash na naman ako. We're not apologizing for the horrors of the past, and we have to keep on remembering. But to just dismiss one side as pure black or pure white or whatever, politics can be 1,000 shades of gray. Kung may 1,000 cuts, may 1,000 shades of gray rin. No? But of course, you want to be on the lighter shade of gray because you want to be as a person with maximum possible integrity and strength and all of that. No, I'm not saying that go and read Machiavelli for you to have a better idea of modern politics or even Thomas Hobbes. But I'm just saying, right? There are 1,000 shades of gray. You want to make sure you're not the darkest shade of gray. You're the lightest version of gray. Because no one is perfect, right? No one is perfect. Let's just not pretend. No candidate is perfect. I'll be honest, none of the candidates perfectly meet really my ideals. But, let's not get there. All right? Okay. Ano pang iba dyan? So, let me be very clear. We're not apologizing for anyone. My stance on that issue is absolutely clear, based on facts, peer-reviewed studies, and all of that. At the same time, we're also discussing emotions. We're talking about political mobilization, yung excitement ng tao, among others. Right. Yan, baba tayo dito. Okay, medyo may mga... Bumait na siguro yung mga comments, ha? Ayan. Huwag naman mga lugaw-lugaw. Ito naman, laos na yung mga attack na lugaw na yan. Time's up na tayo dyan. Move on na tayo. Di ba may si ma'am magdadala daw. Di ba may meme ba? I don't know if it's real na para may lugaw na dala. Dun sa... Anyways, mag-update naman kayo ng yung line nyo. My grandfather is from Ilocos and Baguio, longest mayor. Okay, so, adamit nga Ilocano nakapsa dito eh. Nagadumit nga ito eh. Oh, BBM. Daming BBM supporters da. Ayan, ito si Arvin. Ayan. Please explain to them why being liberal progressive doesn't translate into being a fan of the Liberal Party. Oh yeah, let me be absolutely clear. Liberal Party says it's the Liberal Party, but liberalism is... Let me just be very clear about this. I'm not gonna attack any party or anything like that, but liberalism is basically about freedom. On the economic front, what does it mean? Walang oligarchies, right? Hindi dominated yung economy ng monopolists, right? So liberalism can be very progressive on the economic front, on social economic justice front, on social economic rights front. Liberalism also means freedom of expression, freedom of press, freedom of religion, among other things. No? So you can go back to the works of John Locke, the Scottish Enlightenment, Adam Smith. We can go forward, right? John Stuart Mill. We can discuss all of those issues. So liberalism it could also mean that you believe in basic human dignity, civil liberties, and rights. But at the same time, it doesn't mean absolute yun. Hindi ibig sabihin na pwede ko lang sabihin kung anong gusto ko if nagsaslander ka or etc. There's also law against it. And you cannot deny Holocaust in Europe, in some of the European countries. You can get punished for that. So you cannot engage in hate speech. So as much as you have rights, you also have responsibilities, right? And also, liberalism is about pluralism. Let me emphasize this. Liberalism is about pluralism. Dapat tanggap mo na hindi lang ikaw yung tama. That you live in a society whereby people come from different backgrounds with different points of view, right? And that we cannot always 100% agree on issues all the time. That there will be disagreements on all, but that's part of having a pluralistic democratic society. Pero kung ikaw ay sinasabi mo liberal ka, pero sa tingin mo ikaw lang ang tama, at yung iba ay immoral or hindi tama, I don't think you understand what liberalism is all about. So please go, I can suggest you some of my books here and all, on what are the foundational tenets of liberalism. So we can discuss that. So a true liberal is pluralistic, is respectful, is dignified, wants an economy which is not dominated by oligarchs, wants an economy that is as free as possible. At the same time, also believes in certain duties and responsibilities, at saka yung mga basic civil liberties and human rights. No? So let's be very clear about that. So whether the Liberal Party or what they have supported throughout the years tumutugma doon sa mga basic tenets of liberalism, well, we can have a discussion about that, right? We can have a discussion about that. And yes, freedoms come also with responsibilities. Let's be very clear about this. You're not just free to hurt other people. You're free to help your society, you're free to express yourself, but you're not free to just hurt people, right? So my freedom to extend my hand probably should stop when my hand punches into someone else's faces, right? So I don't have a freedom to just punch anyone I want. That's not freedom. That's abuse of your freedom of basic rights. So we can have a lecture on liberalism later on, but in the political theory class. Are there other questions there before we wrap it up? Sorry, I have to write the chapter on Taiwan and US-Taiwan relations and China and all of that. So balik ako sa aking day job shortly. But are there any questions there? Sorry, I just thought we really have to have a proper discussion today. This is very interesting developments today. I mean, nag-meeting lang ako, etc. Pagbalik ko, like, what happened here? Like, oh, grabe, 150,000. It's like, what's going on here, right? So please, medyo, minsan, okay, I'll just be honest. Of course, minsan sutil ako, di ba? Minsan sutil ako, nagko-comment ako and everything like that. But, we're doing serious political analysis here. So hopefully, let's keep it here. Thank you very much for following me. Following us. Ito naman, nagpapanggap ako na may production team and all, but actually, it's just me alone here. Maraming salamat. Maraming salamat for this. And we'll have hopefully more FBL Live. Hopefully, once I get a little bit rid of this ibas, hopefully I can get rid at all, and get some sleep and all, we can have more FBL Live discussions and everything like that. Pero siguro naman, hindi naman tayo pwede politika lang every day. So sometimes maybe we can talk about other issues aside from politics. UFC, football, let's talk about it, no problem. Baka hindi na lang ako papanorin, but I have many passions, right? So please also follow us, Project Pilipinas, on Spotify, on Apple, on YouTube, right? Project Pilipinas with a good friend of ours, Mark Gamboa. We talk to people from all across the political spectrum. We have had a number of guests. We're going to have more guests. So for Lord De Vera, our other friends will join us soon. And we're going to discuss issue in a respectful, in a factual, but at the same time emotionally resonant way as much as possible. All right? Please be nice. Please be kind. Yes, sutil tayo here and there, but we don't have to be rude to each other. All right? Let's keep it there. All right. Maraming salamat and looking forward to more interaction and discussions in the way we have been doing over the past months and so. God bless. Maraming salamat. Thank you very much.